I've seen an evolution. I think this board, as many boards of many nonprofits, always feel that they need to do the best they can for their organization, but they don't often go beyond that. There's this door that you're not supposed to open in terms of advocacy because you might be getting on the wrong side of an issue with the community and your donors. I think there was some of that mindset on this board, but I have to say in the last 6 months, the conversation is more about who we're serving and why and what other partnerships in the community and how do we bring others to the table. And I don't think this is fair. How do we address that? There's a different energy. Advocacy is more than talking to a legislator about developing a new piece of legislation. It is really about a response to needs that you see every day. It's about developing those relationships and that trust so that together we can come up with change. And I think they are seeing how can we be part of that change. And once they feel that, then those solutions would be the next step. And it's really wonderful to see not just acceptance, but it's kind of an eagerness to look at how do we get involved in this? How do we develop it? And that's the kind of energy we hope that this type of effort is going to expand out into the community to more people. So it's been fun.
We operate in a very small community, and a lot of the people who live here, their families have lived here for generations. And part of how you survive in a small town is by not ticking off your neighbor, right? Or not making ripples. And so there's a little bit of an assumption that, well, if we get too crazy with this advocacy stuff, people are going to be mad at us.
Yeah.
But if you focus on the problem, if you focus on the thing that you're worried about or upset about, if you focus on the story of somebody's need, it's hard to disagree with that. You have to come together around that person's story to help things get better. And I think the board maybe was a little reluctant initially to think, oh, we're going to be out there rabble-rousing, and to say it's okay to do that, and it's good to do that. And I think even if pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, people are a little proud that we've done that. So, you know.
I agree.
For me, advocacy is meeting with the members of generations and identifying their needs and then representing their needs to others. Oftentimes individuals just think this is the way it is, and it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think these guys are just so good at doing that.
Here for a bunch of years, and part of that has been connected with the collaborative. And there's always been an advocacy where people would, make appointments and go visit with legislators. I studiously avoided any effort at all to join those committees because I thought, the last thing I feel like doing is talking to a politician. And it has really changed for me to the point where, now I look forward to that. And part of that is getting to know our representatives as people, and knowing some of their stories and sharing some of our stories and connecting with them individually on behalf of other people whose stories we have heard. So it becomes less a matter of politicking or even thinking of it as in the political realm, but more a matter of saying, I want to tell you about a person that we care for at Generations who's had this experience. And maybe they've been hurt by a policy decision, and you should know that. Or maybe they've been helped by a policy decision, and you should know that, and you should be thanked for that. One of our reps was just recently honored for the amount of legislation that he has introduced. And so I emailed him and I said, hey, I saw this in the news. Good for you. This is why we love working with you. It's about just recognizing and thanking the people who are helping us. Those relationships with those people have made it less of an onerous task to connect with them and more of a really comfortable thing to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, can we talk to you about a concern we have?
And a next step in that evolution is when we're making those calls or making those visits to have participants here to go along and tell their own story.
I have started to join lots of Zoom meetings on advocacy, and just for my own personal learning, but once you're on there, you're like, oh my goodness, this is happening here, and how come that they're not doing that, and why can't we do that, and how are they doing this to us? It's really important to be educated on what's actually happening and what's happening, how other entities and other nonprofits are affected by policies that are being made, and what it looks like in all different kinds of sectors, to learn what is actually happening on the floor. And I hadn't done that before.
The building is full of stories. Everybody who's here has a story. They become part of our life, really. We have a very recent one that's raw today. We lost a dear member yesterday who was part of our life here at Generations. And that happens here a lot because we know those stories. And they're very motivating in terms of how we come up with programs, how we come up with responses to the things that they express. Sometimes they're very practical things like I need food. Sometimes I need a ride. Sometimes I need help in my home or something like that. But many times they're just spiritual, emotional, personal needs to connect, and makes it all worthwhile. It goes beyond just providing a service. So, yeah, the stories are at our heart.
I think the stories from our center are more than stories of receiving service. It's stories of giving service. That's what our initial grant showed us,
Yes.
is that not only are our participants willing to help one another through difficult times, but our participants and so many people in our larger community are excited to help us get the word out and to advocate for the needs of seniors in our community. And that's so inspiring.
If you know somebody's story, you're motivated to help them. If you see statistics on a paper or in the newspaper or on the news or something, okay, there's a distance there that may or may not age you. But if you sit down and you know somebody's story, you're not going to walk away from them without helping them. If you know the stories of the people that you're supporting, you're not going to walk away from the community. You're going to be engaged in the community as you are in supporting these efforts to provide care for people in need. And those people in need, we see it, as Ella said, we see it all the time. People in need connect with people in need. You know what? If you've been through something and you see somebody else going through that, right away,
Yeah.
people are going to sit down next to each other and say, you're going to be okay.